weeks, the Ravens and Dolphins became the latest teams to show interest in Colin Kaepernick, but he remains unsigned. Earlier this week, Spike Lee promoted a rally in support of Kaepernick at the NFL headquarters in New York on August 23rd. Skip, you're hearing about a new development in the Kaepernick situation. Can you tell us about it?
I can. Leaves me very deflated to talk about it, but I will. I believe Colin Kaepernick just passed on an opportunity that would have gotten him the job he deserves as a quarterback in the National Football League. And I have also come to the belief that a picture that was recently posted by his girlfriend further damaged Colin's chances of getting said job. Now, let me explain. To understand this story, you have to understand who John Wooten is and was. He was a Pro Bowl guard for the Cleveland Browns who opened holes for the great Jim Brown back in the day in Cleveland. John then went on to become the personnel director for the Dallas Cowboys, then for the Eagles. He was sort of a GM/personnel director. He ran the drafts for the Cowboys and the Eagles, and he also worked with Ozzie Newsome with the Ravens. And John is now the highly respected chairman of the Fritz Pollard Alliance, which oversees the running of the Rooney Rule for the National Football League. And every Super Bowl week on Thursday night in the Super Bowl host city, John presides over a big soiree, a gala, featuring all the current black coaches in the National Football League, all the current black GMs and executives in the National Football League, many of the former black stars of the National Football League, and every year that I've attended, and I've attended a whole bunch of them, also attended by Roger Goodell.
Yep.
My point is, John Wooten has clout that runs all the way to the league office in New York City.
Correct.
When John speaks, they listen. So John has contacted me several times over the last month, out of his mind, at his wit's end over what an outrage it is that Colin Kaepernick does not have a job. Greatest injustice he'd seen in a long, long time, and he has seen many of them. And he kept texting me, this is not right. What can we do? I have my little suggestions, but John finally came up with this one. Back in 1967 in Cleveland, Ohio, John was a driving force behind the summit supporting the great Muhammad Ali, who did not want to be drafted into service, and he did not want to fight in Vietnam. So you want to talk about a Mount Rushmore? They got Kareem and Bill Russell and, of course, Jim Brown.
Kareem was still in college.
He was still in college. He was still Lou Alcindor at that point. They all came to Cleveland to literally stand behind the great Muhammad Ali in support his conscientious objecting.
Correct.
And it was a powerful and beautiful thing to watch. And John decided, I want to do the same thing for Colin Kaepernick. So he goes to Jim Brown, still a very close friend of his. Jim is in. He's looking around. He goes to our man, Ray Lewis. Ray, according to John, said, I'm in. He was about to go forward, get some other black stars, past and present, maybe some other big stars in other sports to do just what he did in Cleveland, depending on who would want to join in, because I think a lot of people would have joined. I don't know. Maybe LeBron would have joined. I don't know for sure. I can't speak for them. But he needed, obviously, Colin Kaepernick to sign off on this idea, and he couldn't even get in touch through his advisors with Colin Kaepernick. And it became very frustrating to John because this is the irony of this summit. John is one who did not want Colin Kaepernick to back off his stance, which is obviously to speak out or to protest the killing by white cops of unarmed black men that was going on and on and on in this country, that continues to go on. John wanted Colin to continue his stance, to speak out just as strongly as he ever did, because as John says, the truth is the truth. And John believed in his stance and wanted, even at the summit, not to back off, but to go forward and say, I believe what I believe. Whether he continued to protest it the way he did, I don't know. But that's fine. He wanted him to continue to voice his frustrations with what is still going on in this country. Powerful spokesman, he believed. Couldn't get Colin to respond. Very frustrated. As his frustrations mounted, all of a sudden, out of the blue, John gets hit with this. Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend, Nessa, posted a picture featuring Ray Lewis hugging Steve Bisciotti after they had won the Super Bowl, obviously, in Baltimore, on top of a picture of Samuel Jackson's character hugging Leo DiCaprio's character in Django Unchained. If we could see that, please.
What's up?
John was outraged once again for a very different reason, because he thought it came across that she was speaking for Colin.
Right.
John did not like it. John then called Ray Lewis. He also called Jim Brown. And the quote he told me last night was, "I am out." John also believes that if this summit had happened, and I'm going to quote him on this, that Colin Kaepernick would have had a job. He would have been on a roster the next day. I believe in John Wooten, and I believe in that concept. This would have been a way to fight back. This is beyond any protest, the one that Spike Lee is going to be involved in New York. This has impact all the way to the Goodell level. So I believe it would have worked. And it left John so frustrated that he's wondering if Colin is getting the right advice from his inner circle. I can't speak to that. You know Colin a little bit. You've kept someone in touch with him. Your thoughts?
Skip, first of all, I'm gonna say this. A lot of people think I'm a spokesman or I'm on Colin Kaepernick's payroll. Colin Kaepernick couldn't afford me. That's why I can sit up at this desk across from you and speak unapologetic about anything.
I've never thought that for 1 second.
No,
so go ahead.
Because I can speak unapologetic. I'm in no one's pocket, not the team, not any organization. So I get to speak freely, openly, and honestly. I talked to Cap last night, and Cap has some trust issues, especially with people that have flip-flopped with him and about him on this topic. He's like, either you ride with me or you ride against me. You can't ride with me one day because it seems to be the right thing to do, and then on the other day, you on the other side of the fence. So he has trust issues, and he said, Shed, I don't trust a whole lot of people. There's a handful of people that I trust, that I believe have my best interest in mind, and that I can speak to them openly and honestly. And you're one of them. I said, well, Colin, let me tell you how this picture came off. And it's a different dynamic, what you have with your lady, than what I had with my mom and sister. I said, but anything they said, people would believe that it came from me or my brother. That might not even be true, but they're going to say that's Sterling and Shannon speaking. They're saying what they want to say but can't say. So people are assuming, and it's wrong for them to assume this, but I'm saying the appearance or the perception is, this is Colin Kaepernick talking. He's talking through his girlfriend. I said, Colin, look, I don't know your lady. I would never disrespect your lady. I said, but unless she can run 4-4 and throw the out route, I don't care what she's doing. I think you deserve a job. I think your body of work, your resume, you don't deserve a job. You've earned a job through your play. I'm not saying, hey, get on the team, somebody gets hurt, you win the job, so be it. But I think he's earned the right to at least get an opportunity to play in the National Football League. Skip, it kind of rubbed him the wrong way, because he looks at Jim Brown and Ray Lewis of having a golden opportunity. You hear a lot of people say, well, if you get an opportunity to go to the White House, you should go, and then be able to voice your opinion right there to the president. But Skip, let me tell you something about when you go to the president, when you go speak to the White House. They tell you what you can and can't say to the president. So when you go on these visits or you win the Super Bowl, you win the World Series, there is no policy. There's no president, you need to do this. So there's no way for them to get that point across. And he's looking like, hold on, y'all had this golden opportunity. Didn't you realize this was a photo op? Didn't you realize he was using you? And in the past 8 months, have you seen any blacks on camera coming out of the White House? No. So he's like, Shannon, if I speak now, everybody will say, see, it's a distraction. And if I don't speak, well, he needs to tell us he wants to play. Well, the people that know I want to play knows I want to play. We've heard Dick Cass, who's in the Ravens front office, say Colin told him he wanted to play. Pete Carroll said he wanted to play, and Colin Kaepernick is a starter. John Lynch, who's now the general manager, used to work here at Fox, did a great job, said Colin told him he wanted to play. Now, he did a little caveat, but Colin needs to say that himself. Well, if he told you he wanted to play, it's almost like you don't believe him if you say he needs to tell the public that, because he told you that. So you should, most people take people at their word when they tell them something. Skip, it's very frustrating for me for the simple fact, because I agree with you. I think he was bringing attention to something that needed attention brought to. And for some reason, all of a sudden, he can't play because he had this opinion. You and I both know he can still play in this league. There are not 100 quarterbacks in the world better than Colin Kaepernick. But for some reason, he can't get a job. Now, we know now it's not about ability, because we've seen guys that have gotten signed that are not as good a quarterbacks as Colin Kaepernick. We've seen guys that didn't tell anybody they wanted to play come out of retirement and get $10 million. So he's like, what am I to do? And that, I said, Colin, I don't have any answers. But I did tell him, I said, he didn't know who John Wooten was. And I'm not surprised by that. The younger generation don't know who Wooten is.
I got it.
I know who Woot is. I've talked to him on several occasions. He and I, Ozzie, we have, and Shaq, I know you know Shaq Harris.
James Harris.
Yeah, James Harrison, the first black quarterback to win a playoff game. We used to have a good time laughing and talking. But I asked Colin, I said, Colin, won't you Google him? Won't you do some homework on him? Because I think this is someone that would be very beneficial, would look very good in your corner, because he's a champion for this very cause. I said, he's very influential. I said, the diversity that you see, not only with coaches, but front office management, he's a big reason why they have that in the National Football League.
He really is.
Yes. And so I think Colin's going to do his homework. And if he reaches out to me and says, well, Shannon, put me in touch with him, I have Woot's number. I have no problem doing that. But he has some trust issues, and it really bothered him that Ray said what he said.
I know. I got it. It was tough. It was tough for us.
Yes.
Because Ray, as an ambassador for the Ravens, found himself in a tough spot, halfway in between, caught in the crossfire. He spoke out of this side of his mouth and the other side of his mouth. And I'm sure it rubbed Colin the wrong way, and obviously his girlfriend the wrong way.
Yes.
I get that. I also get it that Colin has been in such a crossfire. It's hard to know whom to trust.
That is correct.
And yet he's surrounded by all kinds of advisors, and maybe too many. But John is one you should trust.
Yes.
Because he knows corporate America. He has lived, he's come up through from the bottom to the top of the NFL. He knows how to, quote unquote, play this game.
Correct.
But he's still his own man. He is nowhere near a sellout.
No.
So
he's old school, Skip.
He's old school, but he knows the commissioner very well.
Yes.
He knows how to communicate directly with the commissioner. If you get him on your side, some eyes and ears can be opened at the top.
Correct.
Not at the bottom or the middle, at the top. And I feel like this is an opportunity missed. I know what his issues are with Jim Brown and Ray, but still, they're powerful figures in the black community and in the black sports world. Two very powerful figures. You need them on your side ultimately.
And Harry Edwards, Skip, I think Harry Edwards set him back a lot too, because when it's referred to that Colin Kaepernick's advisor says he doesn't know if Cap wants to play, Skip, I mean, he fits the profile. Dr. Harry Edwards was at that summit, Skip. He's been one of the foremost thinkers on black politics and black social issues. So if he says that and he's Colin Kaepernick's advisor, Skip, I mean, that's like Ernestine says Skip doesn't want to do television anymore. They're going to take that to the bank. Oh, hold on, that's Skip's wife. She's speaking for Skip. And I think that really set Cap back, because that was always floating out there. Does he really want to play, or is activism his main goal? Does that mean more to him than playing quarterback in the NFL? And then when you have allegedly, as an advisor, comes out and says, well, I don't even know what Cap wants to do if Cap wants to play anymore. It took a while for that to get smoothed over. So he has some issues where trusting people, and I can see, I can understand it, because who's in this for the right reason? I mean, are you really? Skip, I don't want anything. I'm good. FS1 did good by me. They took care of it. Skip, I appreciate Skip. I might be able to get
By the way, you're doing well by FS1 too.
Skip, I might be able to get that house in about 2 or 3 years if it stays on the market. Price need to come down to about 1.8
200 million.
Yeah, 380 million.
Yeah.
But and I get it. But like I said, I see, for me, Skip, when I hear things, well, Colin Kaepernick is advised his turn. No, because see, what people don't know, I've talked to teams, And I know things that Cap doesn't even know I know. And I know things that teams don't even know I know. And I know a lot of stuff, but I'm not an insider. My job is not to go out here. All I'm doing, when I speak about Cap, I'm giving people facts, Skip. I'm saying, look at his body of work and look at some of other people's body of work that's gotten signed.
I got
that's
it.
all. That's all I'm doing. So if you think, well, no, because he trusts me, and I never want to betray anybody's trust, because once that's gone, it's irreparable harm.
So my bottom line frustration is I have heard firsthand over the phone the depth of how John Wooten aches over the fact that Colin does not have a job right now. The depth of it. And it's just too bad that that couldn't have connected with Cap's frustration.
Well, I think, Skip, I think there's still a chance, because the one thing I do know about Cap in the almost a year that I've known him is that he will do his homework. He'll read up on John. And once he reads up on John and he realizes who he is and what he's capable of doing and how he can help him, I think that would be a meeting that can happen, that will happen.
It's disappointing that this didn't happen. And as far as not knowing who Wooten is or having issues with Ray or Jim, and no one is perfect, including Colin.
Yeah.
So, you need to keep that in mind, that these are leaders and men who have seen a lot and things that Colin can only imagine.
Yep.
And it does seem like it's time for Colin to stand up